What's up guys, welcome to the second episode of The Mistakes of TBC, where we talk about patch 1.13 and the mistakes that TBC did, at least in my opinion. In this episode we're going to focus on a pretty controversial topic. I think some people are going to agree with me, while others will disagree. The topic today is going to be resilience, or any sort of PvP stat. Now before I get started, I want to say that probably 85% of my time in an MMO is spent doing PvP. So everything I'm about to say comes from a PvP player perspective. The way I see it, resilience brings two problems to the game. Let's start with the first problem. I don't think adding an artificial stat like resilience or PvP power fits the philosophy of classic World of Warcraft or any MMORPG for that matter. We need to remember this is not a PvP game or an esport game. This is an MMORPG. An MMORPG is not about surgically precise PvP balance to create an esport. If people still want that, your best bet is retail, where they have worked for that for over 10 years already. I think an MMORPG is about fun and creating a believable, living, breathing world. Adding features and stats like resilience that manipulates the way our character interacts with other players and the game world breaks the illusion of the living, breathing world piece by piece. It simply doesn't make sense that, for example, a person can have gear with way higher stats than me, but just because I have this magical, mystical stat called resilience, the guy has absolutely zero chances against me, even if he was a better player than I am. Or that my character does huge damage if the target is a player, but terrible damage if it's a mob or a PvE target. These things don't make sense in the game world, and again breaks the illusion piece by piece. I truly believe that the living, breathing world feeling and the so-called immersion is a huge reason why people liked vanilla. Now if that wasn't enough already, here comes the second and bigger problem. That Blizzard for the first time ever truly divided PvE and PvP players from each others. When you hit cap level in vanilla, the entire world was open to you. No matter what you did or what activity you picked, you would progress your character in both PvE and PvP at the same time. When you hit cap level in TBC, you have a choice to make. Are you a PvE player or a PvP player? Because TBC was the moment where PvE gear and PvP gear became irrelevant from each other's. So effectively, if you were a PvP player, you would be wasting your time doing PvE, because the PvE gear became useless for PvP due to resilience. If you think about it, resilience kind of had the same effect on PvP players that Dungeon and Raid Finder had on a PvE player. Because as soon as the gear acquired from PvP became the absolute best gear for PvP, it meant that the PvP player's daily routine was just sitting in town, not moving an inch, an entire game world around them but don't need to use any of it, and just queue over and over again until you get the absolute best PvP gear in the entire game without having moved at all from the main city. I don't think that's good game design, and I'm not blaming Blizzard at all. When this was announced, I was all over it. I was so happy that I didn't have to find a guild to raid, farm consumables, and raid multiple days a week to get PvP gear. I could just get the best PvP gear by simply doing what I love, PvP. Well, that's good if you're making a precisely balanced esport game, but that's not what World of Warcraft is. It still isn't in retail, even though Blizzard tried for 10 years. This is an MMORPG, and a player's daily routine should never ever just be sitting in town, queuing for content, and after a while having the absolute best gear possible. Vanilla did it best. The best PvP gear was insanely good. You would destroy people with just the rank 13 gear. But if you wanted the absolute best in slot PvP gear, you had to go through the entire game world, including killing every boss, and that's how it should be in an MMORPG. Think about it. You have one player who has done hundreds and hundreds of PvP battle, got rank 14 and has the best PvP gear obtainable with PvP. But then there's another player, a player who also did hundreds upon hundreds of PvP battles, but on top of that has killed every single monster, dragon and boss in Azeroth. Doesn't it make sense that even though the PvP player is insanely geared, the guy who went through it all is more geared? I mean, the other guy went through hell and back. He should be compensated accordingly. So that's my argument against resilience. It takes a lot from the game without giving anything back. I mean really, what did resilience fix? It didn't fix anything. the game still has balance issues and they have gone through multiple iterations of PvP stats. It doesn't fix anything and it takes quite a lot from the game. I'm interested in what people think about this. So if you want to share your opinion, you can do so in the comments. I'll definitely answer whether you agree with me or not. But for now, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're interested in seeing the next episode and other classic WoW content. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.